more complex. For individuals like you and I, protecting or even understanding our legal rights is hard. This problem is massively multiplied in business. There's an immense pressure on businesses to move faster, but to do so they need to navigate layers of policy, confusing laws, and changing regulations. With all this confusion, you'd think it'd be a great time to be a lawyer, right? But many see law as slow, expensive, and intimidating. Courtrooms are at capacity. Law firms are writing off work, and in-house legal teams are ignoring risk just to keep up. Manual legal is losing share and relevance to a growing legal tech industry that has oversimplified the problem, glossing over the nuance that is so important. Author, a highly advanced legal AI platform that is arming the armies of the industry. Think AWS or Azure for law. This platform combines 18+ custom, pre-trained learning models that can be configured and integrated into any legal process. These algorithms allow lawyers to virtualize their expertise and automate all manner of legal services. Let's see one example of this now. Move to the demo. Rich has got a time-critical project and it's stuck. He's finally been sent a contract by his supplier. It's a large and complex document. Sending this to his legal team will take weeks to get back. Sending it externally will cost thousands, if not the same amount of time. Instead, he's going to use Author to do an initial QA and redline of this contract. Author intelligently reads contracts, creating structure from unstructured language, classifying the contract type, identifying labeling clauses and details. Author uses its higher level inference engine to assess this for issues and risks. In this example, Author has found a problem with this contract. If it didn't, it would automatically approve it. In the document, you can see what Author is looking for and the issues it's found. It's important to note, Author is telling you why something is wrong and giving you alternative solutions.
Could you zoom in just to explain what's going on here?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So on the right-hand side, you can see that there are clauses, details, and issues. These clauses are the different things that Author is looking for. The details are the different details that Author is looking for, such as termination periods and details like that. Clauses are the different clauses. The issues that Author has found here, there are 3 issues that it's found. The first is there's no term clause in this contract. So Author is suggesting 2 term clauses to be inserted that it believes are appropriate, a 24-month and a 36-month term clause. So if Richard inserts that, you'll see that it will drop into the document. The next issue it's found is that the termination notice duration for this contract is too long. So 90 days breaks the corporate policy that we've set with Rich. Author is suggesting 60 or 30 days. And the last thing that Author has noticed here is it's read the liability clause and it's determined that this liability clause is too unfavorable. So that's legal reasoning. And it's rewritten this clause in both a favorable and a neutral wording. And so if we just go ahead with neutral wording and insert that there, what you'll see is the contract is then approved. And we can now download this and send it back to the supplier with the markups. So look, Rich has taken a weeks-long process and completed it in a matter of minutes. If we could move back to the slides. Built on tens of millions of data points, legal data points, and tens of thousands of hours of legal expertise, Author can read, write, and reason like a lawyer. The Author platform has mastered nuance. Unlike traditional AI techniques, our patent-pending technology understands tiny details in language that make all the difference in law. Author's human comparable learning allows us to learn from incredibly small data sets as you work. And most importantly, Author's outputs are entirely explainable. No black box, making results defensible and trustworthy. Competitors offer point solutions that tackle part of the problem, such as contract analytics, due diligence, and document discovery. But the AI fails to enhance the knowledge base of any specific business, creating generic results for all. In contrast, Author enables your intelligence to be shared across the entire organization, giving you agency over your data, your training effort, and your competitive expertise. Author's been used to reduce legal effort drafting by up to 70%, completely automate court decision classifications, help resolve legal queries by up to 60%, and give a legal market insight up to 99% faster. Legal tech is a $30 billion industry, yet we serve right across legal, risk, and compliance. Combined, this is a $1 trillion market. And we've partnered with Accenture and digital integrators such as Deloitte to rapidly transform this space. Our pricing model has 3 components: a platform access fee, volume-based API charges, and an optional app fee. If you're a legal service provider, lawyer, or in-house legal team, and you're looking to improve profitability and build velocity, go to disrupt.mccarthyfinch.com. Start building the future of law. Thanks.
Okay, judges. So when you say the liability clause in this contract is too long, you're making a judgment about a deviation from a standard. Where does that Stanford come from?
So
do you feed me documents? Do I configure a set of policies? What happens?
So that's not a standard. That is, we're actually reading the language. We're determining the parties, who's involved in that, understanding the context of that, and we make a judgment on that. And that threshold can be curated by the legal team in terms of where that...
right, so that's a policy that you as a legal team have set. So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So how many of these types of judgments, or I would think of them as configuration?
Yeah,
right?
so out of the box, there'll be there's a number of things that are just there. What we've found in the legal space is that every lawyer has a different tolerance level, and so we allow that to be configured. But a number of those things are out of the box.
Are we talking tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of configurations? What are we talking?
No, we're talking about, for an individual document like that, it's 10.
No, but this is something that is going to be extensible across a lot of different document types, right? That's the whole point. So
yeah, absolutely. So there's both implicit and explicit kind of inference, right? So an implicit inference is based on a data set, based on things that we identify. And so that takes care of the large amounts of configuration that you want to do. And then there'll be 10, 15 things that you might want to configure for a specific agreement in that example.
Is there a subset of industries or types of contract that you're starting to train your model on to get this level of flexibility?
Yeah, so I guess we're not just focused on contracts. So as a platform, we're reading, we're writing, we're problem solving, we're thinking like a lawyer. So what we've seen, that covers both insight generation or capture, that covers contracts, we call that review, so being able to review, approval fits into review, drafting, and also triage, which is conversational AI. And so where we've found that is predominantly in-house teams in the corporate space, legal teams in the corporate space are really interested in this stuff, as well as consumer-based legal tech firms and also large system integrators.
how many engineers and data scientists have you working on this?
So we have 19 people in total across New Zealand and America, and predominantly with PhDs, 4 PhDs, legal engineers, and developers.
So if that's 19 adds up.
Yeah, and then us two fit into that.
So 19 total employees,
yes,
or 19?
Yeah, 19 total, 17 the developers.
So I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with putting lawyers out of work. It's a good thing. But a lot of this data is confidential, very sensitive. So is this a cloud service on-prem? And how do you get, and this gets to the points raised earlier, how do you gather the data so the integration post-sale shortens over time and doesn't combinatorially explode?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question, and data is one of the problems that we had going into this. We saw that deep learning approaches were going to always cause a problem in law for a number of reasons: explainability, the able to get to nuance, and the ability for people to be able to train on bespoke cases. A lot of law firms, in-house teams don't have 30,000, 10,000, 5,000 examples to learn something. And so what we've actually built is human comparable learning, which is very much about incredibly small data set to learn. So in some cases, our models learn from 2 to 4 examples, and then they go into ensemble approaches where we can bring in data that transacts through there to boost that over time. And so by removing the need for a huge amount of data, we can actually start providing value quite quickly without this challenge of privacy and the collection of a bunch of data. We also have a number of different tools around de-identification of data as well, so that you can start putting data in that removes identifying features.
So if you're doing learning off of such small data sets, then how do you prevent overfit?
So that's literally, that is tuning, and that is the hardest thing that we deal with. So
It's human oversight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we have a team of legal engineers. So everything we do when we
Is a legal engineer an engineer or a lawyer?
it's both. So it's a lawyer who's actually an engineer.
So Howard,
Someone that has a law degree and a degree in
has
computer
been
science.
has been working in tech. Yeah.
A legal engineer is a lawyer who's worked in tech.
Yes. So understands the technology, understands what our PhDs are talking about, talks the language, can read the code.
so there's 10 of those in the world.
And we've got
You've got
a
a few
handful
already.
Yeah.
One in the audience.
Have you rolled out your services, and what are the initial type of contracts that you're focusing on right now?
So I guess some of the use cases we have, so they aren't just contracts. Some of them have been around extraction classification across large industries. We've done things around financial advice and monitoring the financial advice that's been given out from policy and documents like that. We're working with government and legislative spaces, and we're also working in, as you said, in-house where we're seeing things like sales contracts, so sales and purchase.
How do you charge them? Such a wide variety of services.
Yeah,
How
so
do you
what we
charge?
tried to do with our charging program is to try to make it as easy to acquire as possible, try to make it as standard. So we have a platform charge, and then we have an API charge, which is basically based on volume.
All right, give it up for McCarthyFinch. That is the end of the first session of the Startup Battlefield. All of our judges are going to follow me now. Backstage, they're going to deliberate, help us choose our finalists. But before they do, let's give them one final round of applause.